Hey now, everybody. We're back. Brand new Take Aim Hunting Podcast, and excited to kick off the first official in-season report of the year. You guys know we do this every year where we cover hunts that are basically going down as we're speaking and upcoming hunts within the next day or so. So it's pretty much in real time. Excited to be doing a lot of these in-season reports with Blake Garrett this year from Unfiltered Outdoors, the Unfiltered Hunting app. So make sure you guys download that on iOS or Android. And Blake kind of breaks the news in the podcast that Take Aim is now officially on the Unfiltered app as the main podcast there. So super excited to join up with them and cover their season throughout the in-season report. So also as well, it is Safety Awareness Month, so make sure you're wearing your harness. Make sure you guys are using the lineman belt when hanging stands, and be safe out there. Hope you guys enjoy the show. All right, guys, we are back. Brand new Take Aim podcast. Excited to once again talk with Blake Garrett from Unfiltered. Blake just got done hunting in Nebraska, and I love always talking about Nebraska. So excited to have Blake back with us. What's going on, Blake?
Oh, not much, man. On the road.
On the road. So back from Nebraska and on your way to Kentucky.
That's right. Yeah, we just finished up about 7 days in Nebraska, and I got to go home for a couple and then shoot straight to Kentucky for about 7 days. So
yeah, so which is exciting. Everybody's putting down some deer right now in Kentucky, but let's follow up on Nebraska and give us a little insight on how that trip went.
Yeah, man, I tell you, it was like the best hunting trip I've ever been on that I didn't kill anything.
Really?
It was crazy. Yeah, it was crazy. So we get out there, and you know, Trey does his homework, does such a good job with outfitting and guiding, and he's just putting you on deer like crazy. And I went out a couple of days early just to kind of get some footage and just hang out with Trey. Really, Trey and I have become friends over the years. And
Blake, Trey operates what place? So everybody knows.
Sand River Outfitters.
Okay.
It's near Curtis, Nebraska. But yeah, Sand River Outfitters. He's in, I think, his third year now. It's kind of a long story, but the way I met Trey was I was out doing a hunt. I drew a mule deer tag in Kansas, and I was out doing a hunt with Red Dog Outfitting then. And Trey actually worked for them as a guide there, and I hunted with Trey for like the whole week. Like we hunted together every day and just kind of became friends. And long story short, you know, Trey went off and started his own stuff with Sand River in Nebraska. And we always stayed in touch, and we always talked about, I went up and did a couple turkey hunts, but we always talked about getting together and doing a deer hunt. And finally, you know, this year we kind of got everything in line and got it kind of planned out and kind of, you know, made it just a trip to have some fun and hang out and hopefully put a deer on the ground. And that's kind of what we went for, you know. So we went out early, like I said, and then just saw a ton of deer every night that we scouted, just seeing tons of deer. And I was actually hunting a big whitetail that's probably upper 70s to low 80s, just a giant, and just typical 10, just a beautiful deer. And this deer has like plagued Trey for the last 3 years. Like he just cannot get in front of this deer. He seems like he's always 2 steps behind him. And you know, we thought we had him this year for sure. He daylighted like 10 days in a row on the same beans in August. And in fact, when I got out there the 2 days before season, he daylighted. And so we're like, oh yeah, we got this dude. So Dittmer went with me, and Dittmer had never shot a mule deer before with a bow. So my plan was to help Dittmer in the mornings and midday, get on a mule deer, and then we would hunt this whitetail in the evenings if we had the wind. So we spent the first 2 days, I was just helping Dittmer. We were doing some live stuff and streaming some live stocks, and he was chasing mule deer all over the country. It was awesome. And we kind of just tried to keep tabs on this whitetail, and man, he just disappeared on us. And we don't know why. That's just what this deer does. He'll be, you know, on a food source. He was on the bean field, and then he would disappear for a day, and then he would show up like 6 miles away on another food source, like corn.
Holy cow.
Yeah, and then he would show, like, he'd disappear from there, and then, like, 2 days later, he'd show back up on this bean field. Then the next night, he'd show up on another bean field that's, like, a mile and a half away. Like, he was just zero predictability on this deer whatsoever. Like, I think whoever kills him is going to just dumb luck into him strolling out in front of him. Because there is, like, no pattern. And
Blake,
it's crazy
what's off this bean field that you can hunt off of? Are you guys using like a ground blind, or is there some timber off a river bottom or a pinch point?
It's really just hilly ground with big cedars, and then some of the flats, all the flats up top have beans on them or corn, have some type of ag. And then, they drop off into these big canyons, and we were hunting him. We had a tree stand up because there was a cottonwood on the edge of one of the bean fields. And actually the one he was using. So we had to stand there, and then we were also hunting him off the ground just on the other side of it, just to try to, have different wind options and try to.
Right. So that was like a ground blind, or were you guys just stalking and kind of getting hid?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, just kind of getting hid and burying in. Because the funny thing is that this deer did the same thing last year with holding a pattern late into the summer and actually held it through the first week of season. And Trey went in and put a ground blind up, and he completely changed his pattern off the ground blind.
No way.
He is just zero tolerance. It's the craziest thing I've ever seen. Like, this deer is zero tolerance and absolutely unpredictable when it comes to just getting a pattern on him.
No way. How old do you think that deer is? 5.5 this year?
No, he's got to be. I think he's 6. Yeah. He's got sheds off of him the last 3 years. And, I mean, last year he was like 168-inch 9-pointer. And he, last year I went to hunt him as crazy. I went to hunt him late, with a muzzleloader tag, and he had daylighted like 4 days in a row there, and I got out there and never saw him in 5 days. And I left, and 2 days later he daylighted again. Like, it's unreal how this deer is. Like, Trail just send me videos of him, like, through the spotting scope. Like, yeah, he's strolling around at 3 o'clock in the afternoon in the broad daylight. But you can't predict it. It's just so crazy. So what's his
frame like this year? You said he was on 9-pointer last year. What's he like this year?
Yeah, he's a clean 10 with a kicker off of his brow on his left side. But he's every bit. I mean, he's every bit of 70s, no doubt. But I really think he would gross probably low 80s. Just a beast. I mean, just a beast.
That's a giant. That's a giant.
Yeah.
That's a mega deer, no doubt.
Yeah. He was so he consumed up a lot of my time. Him and then helping Dittmer, that took up about 6 days total, and then we had 2 days left. Dittmer had to leave, so we had 2 days left to hunt. So we started kind of hunting this really big framey mule deer. And he's a stud mule deer too. I would guess that deer's probably 70s or 80s, just a straight 4x4. And one of the biggest frame deer I've ever seen as far as mule deer goes. I mean, he is just super impressive. And I think I posted a picture of him on my Instagram when we were up there. But
yep, I think I saw that. Yeah.
Yeah, we had him one night. We kind of went in on a game plan to just sit high and catch him on his feet. And as soon as we got him on his feet, we were going to just make a mad dash for him. And I'll be darned if he didn't stand up like 800 yards away, just down in this little ditch. We didn't even know he was there. We had been looking at him all day and didn't even know it. But he got up, and, man, we made a dash for him and got within 100 in about 5 minutes. And then from 2 hours later, so we followed him for 2 hours up to this bean field, and we got within, I think 92 was the closest I got to him, but we got within 100 4 different times on that stalk, but just could not get in front of him enough to where I could close him down. If I could get him to 70, I was going to try him at 70 because I could shoot 70 pretty good, but I didn't want to try anything beyond that with him. And man, it was just insane, just going and going and going. And he'd put his head down. I'd try to gain as many yards as I could, and then freeze up and let him.
Was that a morning hunt, Blake, or? No,
it was an evening. So yeah.
Okay. All right.
Yeah, and we actually ran out of time on him. We followed him all the way until dark. At dark, when I lost camera light, he was 100 yards from us, just standing there.
Yeah, that's
Is that the picture you posted, I believe? Like where I can see your back and the deer in the...
That was one, yeah, one of them. There was a one in the bean field I had posted earlier, and then that was the next to last night. And then the very last night I had another stalk on like a 60s mule deer in a bean field that we kind of set up waiting on the big frame deer, and he didn't show on us in time. And this other deer had showed up about 7:30, which gave us about an hour and 15 minutes for shooting light. So we went on the other deer and just tried to get him killed. But, man, it was another crazy, like, I'm in the middle of a 200-acre bean field, and this deer started out, he was like 180 yards into the field right in the middle of it. And I just took the bow and had the camera guy kind of sit on the edge there and just took the bow and an arrow and then started just trying to slip down the rows. And we ended up I got within 84 of him and tried him at 84 and ended up hitting the beans that were covering him in front of him. Essentially, my arrow did a nosedive. So he was just in too thick of stuff to get him killed where it was. Those beans were almost up past his back. So I thought I could sneak one in, but couldn't. So
yeah. Now,
it is what it is. But
did you guys, or tell me a little bit about the difference between what you did in the evenings for mule deer and what you did with Dittmer in the mornings? I mean, tactic-wise, what differed between the two morning and evening hunts?
I think really, the morning stuff for the most part is about getting eyes on, and really evening too. It's all about getting the eyes on them, but you're a lot more aggressive in the evenings just because you have a limited amount of time. In the mornings, you can kind of set back on that deer, and they'll rebed about 3 times, usually 2 for sure, from the time you see them at daylight till noon. They usually try to move with that sun, so they'll usually find a bed pretty quick after daylight. That's usually a little bit higher in a bowl or where they can have a little bit more visibility. They kind of set out in the open, and we try to really utilize that time to find them. And once we find them, then we'll usually set on them and let them get, as that sun gets up, they want to get lower and they want to get out of it. So we let them get down and let them kind of rebed, and that usually happened. It was any time between 9 and 11. They usually rebedded up midday, and that's really when we would try to get a stalk on them because, conditions just get better. You have rising thermals. You have a better wind typically in the middle of the day than you do at the morning. And the deer's lower, which means he has less visibility. So you kind of know what you can play with a little bit more to go on like a midday bedded buck. And like all the success I've ever had killing mule deer has been midday after we've put them to bed. The big one I killed in Nebraska a couple of years ago, same thing. I mean, we literally followed that deer for almost 2 miles back in the canyons, just watching him bed down for a little bit, and he'd get up and rebed. He'd get up and rebed and rebed and rebed and then lay back down. And, he finally bedded up in a spot that we could get on him, very, very easily.
Yeah. So from afar, you guys are glassing somewhat, and then do you kind of, so to speak, like we use this term turkey hunting, take their temperature? Or are you kind of just like checking to see if they're in a position with the sun or shade, if they're going to move again and rebed, or do you usually just make that call right then to be like, let's get after them?
Yeah, I mean, we usually try to get, want to try to get as close as we can to him. If he's laying high and he's killable high, then we'll just go on him. But 9 times out of 10, when they lay high, it's a lot harder to kill them because they can see a lot more. It's a lot flatter. There's just not good terrain to get really within 100 on them. So usually we try to get to that like 100-yard mark or so just to be safe, and then wait for them to rebed that way because, man, those things can disappear on you. We had it happen a couple different times where you thought you had this deer. I mean, you thought he went down he just went right down that bowl. That's where he is, and you get up there and he's not there, and you realize that this bowl led to another bowl that took a creek, almost what I would call a creek, a big ditch, and it may be only shoulder width wide, but he'll take that and use that and go down and lay, he could be 150 yards off of where you marked him when he went down the bed. So you try to just, the name of the game is keeping eyes on him all the time if you can.
Yeah, optics, man. Good optics is what it sounds like.
Yeah.
But it's really cool that you I mean, that is Nebraska specific, so to speak, that you guys have figured out exactly what those deer do in that area and how to hunt them.
Yeah. Trey was a big asset to it. Like I say, Trey's a machine when it comes to guiding deer and really, watching them. He's out there watching them all the time, and he can tell you, I never realized, but a lot of those deer have the same beds every night out there. So that deer may go to a canyon, and he may only show up. He may not be anywhere around this ditch or canyon that he's going to bed in all morning, and then 11 o'clock, he'll just come running. We had deer just running across the wide open at 11 o'clock to get to this one canyon where they want to bed.
No kidding.
So it's kind of cool. Yeah, it's pretty cool to know that. But
that is cool. I mean, almost like, I don't know what it is really, if that's a personality thing or that's a 100% safety thing where there's a certain thermal they get for the rest of the day or, a wind direction they really like and they're utilizing that canyon for that reason.
Yeah, I think it's really based on shade from that afternoon sun. There's only so many limited little spots of ditches that gets them good shade.
Sure. That's a great point.
Noon till 5. So I think they really try to utilize those specific spots that can get them that shade, and they know about them. But I mean, we jumped the same buck out of like the same bed, literally like 3 different days in a row.
Unbelievable.
Like he just went back to the same exact bed, same exact spot, everything. It's like they just know it, and there's not a lot of options out there for good bedding. So all those bucks know where they are, and they use them, daily throughout the day.
Yeah, for sure. They know what's safe, and they're going to go continue to use those. And like you said, if he got away with it 3 times on you, he knows he can do it tomorrow and get away with it.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
In his mind anyways, hopefully one day he doesn't, but, in his mind, he gets away with it every day. So, and that's really cool, though. That's definitely the way, I mean, when you learn or talk about, learn, read, and do stuff associated with mule deer hunting, you guys pretty much did it all right there, it sounds like.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I found that it's just like, and especially after doing it, for another week down there, because I didn't do a mule deer hunt last year at all, and I told you that, I think, on one of our podcasts. I was like, I got to get back to it. Like, it's so enjoyable to me. It's unbelievable. I just love the spot and stock aspect of it. It's like, we just don't get to do it where we're from, and
for sure,
it's such a different game that is, you can't call him in. You can't set the stage really. You have got to just play the chess match of getting within bow range on a deer that, is very wise to his area and knows what he's doing the whole time. So it's a blast, man. I want to go back tomorrow if I could. Yeah,
for sure. No, I have that itch. I don't I waited way too long to do my first mule deer hunt, as you know, like I went last year to Alberta, and that was my first one ever. And I'm ready to go back this year, if it's Nebraska or wherever it is, but I'm ready to do it again. It's like legitly, as they say, in your blood. It's as in my blood as it gets, and I can't stop, thinking about it or just trying to imagine hunts happen. It just it's the coolest thing ever, because, like you said, you're almost just helpless to everything they got going. You just got to participate. Excuse me, you got to participate, and hopefully you have the wind in your favor, and that's all you can do almost, and that's what makes it so intriguing.
Yeah, it's definitely a game of numbers. I always tell guys, like, just go on stocks. Just keep going on stocks. Like, if you just knock out as many as you can, one of them will end up right for you.
Right. Yeah,
it's a matter.
True.
I mean, you're gonna have failed ones. It's gonna happen almost daily. You have a lot more that go wrong than go right, but you just got to get it right once. They have to get it right all the time. So it's just bound to happen at some point.
Yeah, that's true. Very true. So did anything else occur with the big whitetail, or did you have another opportunity? No? Nope. I haven't. I didn't see him. I haven't talked to Trey since I left, but we didn't see him the last 3 days. We didn't even lay eyes on him. So it's crazy. This deer's been around for 3 years, on Trey's radar at least. And
I asked him one night, we were hunting him, and I was like, dude, what's the closest you've ever been to this deer? He's like 800 yards. Like, it's just unreal. This deer is just, I'm so glad he's not on my farm because he would just consume me at home. Like, I don't know. Like, I spent so much time on him, out there. I think I've burned, like, close to 11, 12 days now in 2 years on him, and I've never seen him within a mile.
No way.
I've watched him a mile away before in flying scopes, but I've never even, I told Trey, I said, man, if I just lay eyes on him, I'm going to be excited.
Man, that's crazy. I hope down the road as we keep doing these in-season reports, even if you hear, Blake, that he gets, ends up getting killed at some point, you share that story with us because that's pretty insane that this deer is that much of a recluse,
Oh, yeah, it's unbelievable. And to live in a state like Nebraska where they have a rifle season in the middle of the rut, and to live, to 6.5, and it's so wide open. Like, at home, our rifle season, like, our bucks can kind of hide. There's nowhere that deer can hide. Like, I don't know where he goes. Trey's like, he's got to have a tunnel or something because he disappears during rifle. You do not even lay eyes on him at all.
That's crazy. He just knows, goes underground, so to speak. But
yeah, it's unbelievable.
You got to love deer like that because it's just like what makes them a legend. It's cool to hear those stories of legends like that. Oh,
yeah. Yeah, his personality just keeps him alive. His little things that make him tweak, they just keep him up. He's going to live for a while, I can guarantee that.
Yeah, that's crazy. So do you have any plans to make it back out there this year?
Yeah, I think so. I talked to Trey a little bit. I don't know when. I may end up going late, just kind of when he can fit me in and it's easy for him, and I can kind of play it in between hunts. Hopefully I can make a trip back out there. We've got a pretty eventful. I've got this hunt in Kentucky for a week, and then we go to Canada on the 26th. So that's going to take up pretty much all of September. And then I'm back in October, and I actually start outfitting a little bit there mid to late October. So it may be something I have to pull out late season, but I hope to go back. I think if I do, I'm just going to hunt muleys just because I enjoy it so much that I would regret not hunting a muley.
Yeah, for sure. Like you said, we don't get to do that. We don't, our only stalking is literally trying to be quiet going into a stand. There's no, there's no chance for us to sit on the stalk a whitetail. So, it just does make it so enjoyable when you get to go do it because it's almost like a breath of fresh air because it's such a different form of hunting.
Oh, absolutely. It's like running and gunning with turkeys. But even like another additive to where you like cannot call them. You know what I mean? Like you just can't set the bait. You just have got to be sneaky. Like if you just got to be sneaky. That's it. That's the only option you got.
You're right, man. So let's talk real quick about Kentucky. What do you got going on there? I know Kentucky is one of the cool states, one of the very few where it opens really early and potential to shoot something in velvet is there. You might have a chance still, Blake. Some bucks are rubbing out right now, obviously, but pretty cool that you get to go and start a whitetail season. That's so early right here. Basically, I kind of consider Kentucky the Midwest, but pretty much right here in the Midwest and get after it. Yeah. So Kyle Gross is a friend of mine. I just met him through social media stuff, and Kyle's done some stuff with like Team 200 and Quest Hunting and stuff like that. And we were talking, and he had some ground down here, and I was like, man, I'd really like to pick up a Kentucky lease because it was something that, there's always giants getting killed out of Kentucky every year. And it's a baiting state, which I like. I'm trying to get into a couple more of those just because of our affiliation with Big Time and how much of an awesome product it is. And I don't get to really hunt over it very much. I don't get to hunt over it at all anywhere that I hunt usually. So, I can't in Nebraska, I can't in Kansas, I can't at home. So I wanted to try to pick up some states that I could hunt over it because, the drawing power and just that product I just believe in truly wholeheartedly. And so Kentucky was one I really wanted to look into to try to get into so I could kind of utilize that and get the chance to hunt over it because, I get a ton of questions about using Big Time to hunt over and all that, and it's hard for me to answer them because I've never done it. So this is something that we're going to try to do. Kyle said, man, I got some stuff. Just head down this way.
And we kind of set the hunt up early, I think it was early June or so, and he was sending some trail camera pictures of some great deer. And, you know, he killed a deer, I think the first weekend maybe there. He killed a deer early, and, you know, when it first opened. So he's tagged out now, so he's just been putting the work in, doing the grind on running cameras and hanging sets and stuff, getting ready for us to head down there. So we're going to try to get down here and get some killed. I don't know, like you said, you know, I think we're going to probably miss the velvet window. I know there are a couple bucks still carrying, but it's going to be a rarity, I think, which is all good. It doesn't really bother me, but I'm more interested in just hunting east of Missouri. I've never done it. Kind of felt weird getting in the truck today and not driving west to go to a hunt. So it's
that's crazy, Blake.
Yeah, I literally have never hunted. I filmed some hunts in Illinois, but I've never hunted.
Yeah, I was just going to mention, I cannot believe you haven't hunted just even Illinois or you know, Ohio or Indiana.
Yeah.
Crazy.
Yeah, never have. I'm a Western dude by heart. Like I grew up in the Midwest, but I love everything the West has to offer with just visibility. It's like all the things that I struggle with here at home.
Yeah,
I can do out west, like spot and stalk and scope things from 2 miles away and scout from far away and just stuff like that. So I just really have always enjoyed going west, and never really looked into going east. And you know, this is Kentucky is going to be my first one, and then you know I may move into like Ohio or something too. That's another great state that is a bait state that has some giants in it. So that's definitely another one I'm looking at, but. Yeah, we're going to try Kentucky. I'm pretty excited about it. I like new things. I haven't really done anything that's been out of my normal box of, like I said, the West in a long time. So
yeah, that's cool. That's good for you. It's a, you know, so to speak, a new notch on the hunting belt and, a new challenge. Obviously you kind of know too, I mean, Missouri's pretty thick, and everywhere you go east of the Mississippi, it's thicker and thicker. So, it's going to be a little less visibility and a lot more patience.
Right. Yeah, it's pretty hilly, and I'm pretty interested to see what service is like. I really hope we can stream from some of the spots. I know it's probably going to be like Nebraska, where if you were higher on a hill you could stream well. If you were down on the very bottom you couldn't. It was just kind of a mix, but it's going to be nice for the app to get out here too and just kind of play with it to see how it acts, because I've, like I said, never gone east, so just to see how it does in this terrain and do some more testing with it and stuff like that, just to make sure we're clean out here too, and we'll see what happens.
Yeah, for sure. I know, talking about the app real quick, I was excited to check in with you guys when I got updates that you guys were streaming, or if cool thing is that even if you don't catch it live, it's there and posted, and you can catch it 10 minutes later and it's like it literally is live still, because it's only been a few minutes. But yeah, I was excited to keep up with you guys, and I've turned the buddy onto the app, and he was texting me. He's like, dude, I'm watching a mule deer stalk right now. How flipping awesome. He was, super excited. He's working and just got a break on his phone, and he was like, man, thanks for turning me on to unfiltered stuff. It's awesome.
Yeah, I think, we got a ton of good response back on that stuff that we streamed out there, and I think people are kind of getting to see the concept of it now, and John and I were talking about it yesterday, and how nice it is to kind of see it getting some traction now, and people actually really enjoying the content that we're putting out, which is the number one goal for us. I mean, we're not in it for money, we're not in it for fame. We just want people to enjoy our content, and ultimately, it's been 3 years of hard work and sacrifice to really get it going, and I feel like it's going and gaining some traction now, and we're pretty excited, man. We're going to keep pushing it and keep raising the bar and just try new things. We added the podcast, which you're very familiar with.
Yep.
We got some Take Aim stuff on there now, so there's a whole podcast tab. You can get any Take Aim episodes uploaded on there and checked out, and we're doing some more stuff for Unfiltered on there. And
yeah, super excited that Take Aim is going to be a part of it, and we're going to do stuff like this with Blake all the time during the season, and even myself. I'm headed to Missouri this week, Blake, so excited to kind of, the idea of us doing these in-season reports is us to celebrate getting to go on a new adventure, and then hopefully celebrating after an awesome hunt and a kill. So there should be a lot of that going on, and I think it makes, like Blake said, the idea of this is to produce good content that everybody enjoys, and I think we're pretty close to hitting a home run with it. So I'm excited to share the season with you and Dittmer and keep it moving.
Heck yeah, absolutely.
For sure, man. Well, I know you're driving, and I wish you the best of luck in Kentucky, and hopefully I get a text and a picture here shortly, and we can do a celebratory podcast.
Heck yeah. We'll be hunting tonight, so we should be rolling in there about 3:30, and we'll be in the blind this evening. So
yeah,
hopefully we can get in front of one. It'd be nice.
And Blake, again, let everybody know, like we always do, but where they can find Unfiltered at and follow along on the hunts.
Yeah, absolutely. So go to your app store on your phone, either Android or Apple, and just search Unfiltered Outdoors. It's a completely free app to download. And you can also, if you need to, go to unfilteredoutdoors.com. There's some info about the app there. You can download it straight from the website. And then we're also on Instagram, Facebook, just Unfiltered Outdoors. Easy as it goes.
Yep, for sure. And you can always look back on my Instagram at bhams21. I share and tagged Unfiltered several times, so it's easy to find. But Blake, good luck this evening, man. Touch base, and we'll get after it again.
Absolutely. It's good talking to you.
All right, you too, man. Bye-bye.
All right. We'll see you. Bye.